People of Senegambia in a single interactive multi-sectoral business platform. The event is taking place from Thursday 25th to Friday 26 May 2017 at the King Fahd Place Hotel in Dakar, Senegal. Sponsors are invited to this all-important event that shall shape the two nations' future economies. For information on how to be a sponsor of this event, call 990-8343 or 7890-132 or 676-7002. The Gambia and Senegal, two nations, one people, one voice.
The man of house properties, so young Macalson for Kelly at Italy, His Excellency President Adama Barrow, man of house properties, Nayaksi Amna, Asanjay and Joel Diban, Asanjay, Khalidi Jagni, President Gambia, Namonko, Yakam to Wanko, Nepodiko Sentu, Nanani, Kalimadi, Esti, Mighty Joe, Kelly family, again. The done by the 19th of May 2017. The good banquet Galadina Bufusula Amma, Benjamin Hall, entrance $1,500. 28th May, the Grand Dance Jama Hall Carababit Hotel, entrance VIP $700, individual $500. 21st of May, shows a Jacobin Kama, the West Coast region Pare Jota. Musulen Kogis, entrance $350 is Sunyure Gambia.
Apple of my eye.
Oh, really?
Apple of my eye.
Yes.
Apple of my eye. Yay. Sama jangoma. Tainga songoma. You on the line.
Waaw bu ngoog asalaamaaleykum wa rahmatullah di yooti naa leen ku nekk sa tur ak sa sant xam ngeen ne rek alarba bu jot si kattanu yàlla suñu mayee fekkee ba ñu ñëw taxaw fi seen kanam di leen defal lu leen di neex ma ne ko jaliya banale wo ñon kuma kumale la leen ata nañu waxee ñoo ko seela Papa ma ko gëre oho
tagugu sa ñapax gi gën xeme oho
mayaat ba oho
tagugu sa ñapax gi gën xeme oho
Anything sula nehe nga ko ci RTS they can munu si anything
ya man yobu ajana nana ajana nana ajana way
say madame jam buka fem badum fo sponsor de nang
waaw asalaamaaleykum waaw comme nu ko suma doomu ndey waxee ngay wax sponsor si muy Gambian bi taransu xeebuñ ko tala basket baa ngi nii bii mooy ngronal basket taransu tala jafi taransu $2 xeebuñ dara Manding Empire
ngronal basket
yow su la neexee jigéen na sax awa day Lamine Sène Serifo ngonal
Good evening, I am Winifred Nicole, and these are the headlines. President Adama Barrow presides over the swearing-in of 6 Superior Court judges. Former President Jammeh's council withdraws the petition to challenge last year's presidential election results. Postal employees in Guinea-Bissau work without salary for 7 years due to the country's economic challenges. And Chinese President Xi Jinping delivers the keynote address at the opening of the Belt and Road Connectivity Project. Well, viewers, those are the headlines. joining us. President Adama Barrow this morning presided over the swearing-in of 6 judges of the Superior Courts. As Momodou Jallow reports, the appointment of the new Gambian judges is part of government's drive to replace foreign judges.
Justices Nicholas Collins, Cherno Suleiman Jallow, Mary Mam Yasin C. and Abubakar Dati Yahya are expected to bring back to life a Supreme Court that has not sat for 2 years. Meanwhile, Justices Omar Mamadou Musa Njai and Nasise Salawada will serve at the Appeals Court. They also are to perform their functions according to the Constitution and other laws of the Gambia, and most importantly, deliver justice. Speaking after the ceremony, the Chief Justice Hassan Boubacar Jallow said such appointments are an important step that will go a long way in addressing the capacity gaps and add value to the superior courts.
This is a very important step which will go a long way in addressing the capacity issues that we have, the capacity challenge that we have within the judiciary. And I have no doubt it will make a very, very immediate positive impact.
Hussein Dabo, Minister of Foreign Affairs, International Cooperation and Gambians Abroad, described the event as historic, adding that it has always been his dream to see people of such caliber and integrity appointed to such important posts.
Great many of you have sacrificed a lot and sacrificed for the nation by accepting to be appointed as judges of the courts in the Gambia. I know what it is like in the judicial service, and I know also what it's like on the other side that Mr. Njai has abandoned to come and accept appointment as a judge of the Superior Court.
For the President, these appointments form part of his campaign promise of wholesale reforms of the judiciary and his government's firm commitment to the principles of an independent judiciary and the rule of law, which he believes are the cornerstone of any democratic dispensation.
This is one of the key values that the Gambian people object for when they decide to choose a new direction on the 1st of December 2016. Never again shall this country return to those dark days of impunity and disregard of constitutional order.
The judges are expected to commence work immediately, a development Chief Justice Jallow described as very significant given the backlog of cases at the Superior Courts.
The Supreme Court has not sat for the past 2 years, and cases have been building up. They've been piling up in that court. I believe we have a list of 36 cases to look at the moment. We will be starting this afternoon, as a matter of fact. The Supreme Court will be sitting from this afternoon. So the appointments are very, very important in that they have enabled us now to get the Supreme Court to resume its work.
The Gambian judiciary has come under intense criticism in the past for its perceived collusion with the previous government in restricting basic freedoms and imprisoning opponents. This swearing in of 6 judges, 5 of whom are Gambian, marks a new beginning for the judiciary, which is keen to restore its image and public confidence. Momodou Jallow, GRTS News.
In a similar development, the Chief Justice also presided over the valedictory session of 6 new Supreme Court judges. Ibrahim Ajata tells us more.
Justices we are honoring today are among the best empaneled men in this jurisdiction.
Thus, the Judicial Secretary outlining the new beginning, putting competent justice delivery on a high parameter as the judiciary welcomes 6 newly appointed Supreme Court judges. It was an event of distinct oratory that paid homage to the first venture looking to build an independent judiciary, executing the rule of law without fear or prejudice.
Today we are presenting to you 4 justices of the Supreme Court and 2 justices of the Court of Appeal. They've just been sworn in by His Excellency the President Adama Barrow at his office. So I'd like to once again congratulate the justices for their appointment, welcome them to the bench of the Gambia, and wish them all the best here. All of them have had some distinguished legal careers here and abroad. And I'm sure that their appointment brings much added value, will in fact bring a lot more added value to our work within the legal system here.
The occasion also signals a novel remodeling of relations between the bench and the bar, with lawyers looking forward to what could be a prime era of justice delivery in the Gambia.
We have heard the cry of our people for justice, which is the clarion call for which both the bench and the bar must respond to positively, earnestly, and with unwavering commitment.
Cherno Marana is the new Solicitor General of the Gambia.
This is a future that is anchored on the rule of law, a future that is anchored on good governance, and a future that is anchored on the independence of the judiciary.
At the helm of the new appointees is Justice Nicholas Colin Brown, a distinguished judge from Sierra Leone who has served a symbolic niche as a legal authority in the West African state.
The Gambians gave us Mr. Salako Benkakoka, who became a Chief Justice, Justice Foster, who was the Justice of the Supreme Court, and Mr. James Mahoney, who was one-time Attorney General of Sierra Leone in the 60s.
The appointed Supreme and Appellate Court judges also in bright prospects for justice delivery, with a lineup that includes Mam Yasin C, the first female judge in the Gambia.
It's not an independent task because the two have to go together. There will be no judgments pending if there are no briefs written.
In a historic dispensation that marks a national first, 4 Gambian judges make it to the Supreme and Appellate Court.
I have absolutely no doubt that we are poised to develop one of the strongest judiciaries ever.
Together, we seek to foster a better bench-bar relationship.
It's an outlook that ignites hope, but for Supreme Court Judge Justice Abubakar Dati Yahaya, more commitment is still required towards the indigenization of the bench.
One thing concerns me, and that is still the absence of a large number of people at the bench in the Gambia, Gambians for that matter.
That is what we want, justice to the people, and non-interference in the affairs of the administration of justice system.
The Supreme Court begins work in earnest, and they are facing a significant backlog of cases. It could be recalled that this court has not sat or had cases for months since the beginning of the country's political impasse. It is a new dawn for justice delivery and the rule of law. The new appointees bring years of weathered and seasoned experience to justice delivery amid a new dispensation that looks to shape the best in order to create a competent and independent judiciary.
Jammeh has withdrawn the post-election petition filed by Jammeh to challenge the December 1st presidential election results. Ibrahim Ajata was at the Supreme Court.
A full Supreme Court, brimming with spectators and mountains of legal volumes, been examined by lawyers well before the panel of judges make their appearance. It is the first time the Supreme and Appellate Court sits to hear cases since the end of the political deadlock orchestrated by the former government of Yahya Jammeh. A new democratic dispensation, and the Supreme Court prepares to handle what has become a raging backlog of cases that include several election petitions filed by former leader Jammeh and his APRC party. When that matter was called before the Supreme Court, lawyer Edward Gomez announced his representation for the applicant and pronounced his client's intention to withdraw the election petition involving the IEC and Adama Barrow. The state respondents, represented by Bindeki, did not raise any objections to that motion, yet the constitutional provisions for the revoking of petitions need to be satisfied. This is what presiding Judge Chief Justice Hassan Jallow told the petitioning party, that compliance required a date, and the counsel for the applicant asked for an adjournment to prepare the necessary submission as necessitated by the Constitution. His motion will be granted, and the matter adjourned to the 24th of May for continuation. Other election petitions by the APRC and its National Youth Mobilizer versus the IEC, returning officer, and Adama Barrow will be eventually called. But the counsel for the applicants delivered similar submissions stating his client's intention to withdraw and revoke the application, challenging the outcome of the December presidential polls. With no opposition from the respondents, the Supreme Court asked the counsel for the applicant to embark on the legal processes prescribed to lawfully revoke the petition. The matters were adjourned for continuation on May the 24th. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court, which began sittings, earnestly embarked on the hearing of a backlog of 38 cases, which include a host of criminal matters. Ibrahim Ajata, GRPS.
The French ambassador to the Gambia and Senegal, Christophe Bigot, has pledged to support the Gambia strengthening relations with the wider world. Ambassador Bigot made the remarks during an interview with GRTS.
Tell us a little bit about the Gambia-France relationship.
Well, you know, we were not very much involved during Jammeh time. There was not much, you know, links. We did close our embassy in 2013. But when we felt this upheaval, this democratic change, this new wave, this new Gambia, we were quite, you know, amazed, and we felt that we had a kind of duty to assist and help you. That's why during just after the first December elections, we were quite vocal to support President Barrow and to support also the efforts of ECOWAS to find a peaceful but determined solution to the crisis. We invited, with others, President Barrow to come to Bamako at the African-France Summit to show him support and support of the African chiefs of state. I had several opportunities to meet with him in Dakar.
That brings the question, why the vested interest now? Because I would have expected that reaction from, let's say, Britain, since we are English-speaking country, but why is France having so much interest in the Gambia?
Well, for a very simple reason. The first one, as I said, you know, the fact that you are turned out as becoming a democracy in such a peaceful way. I mean, it's a lesson not only for the Gambians, of course, but not only for West Africa, but for the whole Africa. So in some way, you are a message, and a very, very positive message. You should not underestimate, I mean, the value, you know, of symbols, and you are definitely a symbol. But it's more than the symbol. It's also the fact that you are turning as a normal state, that you want to be integrated in the region. So this value also a lot of power, a lot of potential for the whole region, for the ECOWAS region, for Senegal, of course. But beyond Senegal, I mean, becoming an integrated state, that's also making a change. And then there's a lot of new potential that are opening, whether it's in terms of economy, in terms of justice, in terms of security. I mean, here are issues on which we have invested a lot in other African countries, and we are ready, if there is interest, of course, to share it with the Gambian people. And then you have, you know, always a kind of very human aspect. I mean, there was a great welcome to President Barrow when he visited France. People felt a lot of empathy with him. And this, personal dimension is playing also quite a role.
That was the French ambassador to the Gambia, Christophe Bigothe, talking to GRTS's Teneng Jite. The Minister of the Interior, Mai Ahmed Fati, recently discussed with religious leaders in the Upper River region the importance of peace and unity. Kumbaba went along and she filed in this report.
The Minister of the Interior, Honorable Mai Ahmed Fati, has been engaging religious leaders in the Upper River region to enhance unity among communities and Gambians at large.
The President takes religion very seriously. He understands that this country, there are Muslims and Christians, and he wants to give significance to both faiths. In this particular time, the President had delegated me to represent him at the annual recitation of Quran and Gammo at Tuba Wulle, which is officiated by one of the most respected clerics in this part of URR, and not only here but in the entire Senegambia.
The minister's first port of call was Nyakoi Kiriwan in Woolly West, where he witnessed the opening of a mosque.
We are from the people, and we derive our power from the citizens. There are times when the citizens would like us to be a part of their activities. A mosque is the house of Allah. That is where people come and worship. And when you build a house, a massive house of worship, it is for the whole community of Muslims, not only people from this community, but for the entire Muslim Ummah. And so participating in that event, for me, as a native of this area, I see it as consolidating morality.
Several speakers commended the community of Nyakoi Kiriwan for their dedication and love for Islam. Among them, the Imam of Kuntaru, Alaji Bambo Jaite and Alaji Bami Jaite. They also applauded the community for promoting peace, unity and Islam. The minister also visited Wuli Tuba, where he met a prominent Islamic scholar, Alaji Jannasano. The scholar prayed for the president and the entire country. Minister Fati said reaching out to communities was part of the new government's effort towards strengthening national unity as well as freedom and democracy.
Success of the programs of the government, which is intended solely to uplift our nation from poverty and to create a very strong and solid foundation for democratic governance, so that Gambians of the future generations will not have to do this work again. And that is why it is important that I am here. It is part of our social contract that we have to get back to people whenever they need us. Because our work is not just sitting in offices and designing policies and programs. It's to go back to the people and be a part of them and integrate with them in everything that they do.
The Interior Minister's tour is expected to raise hopes of new development projects for the people of Woodley as they look forward to a more inclusive government. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Kumbaba.
The Department of Forestry has validated a 4-year investment plan to help protect the country's forest cover. Famara Kanye has more.
A 4-year investment plan was validated by forestry officials with support from the FAO and ECOWAS Committee on the Environment. The plan covers varieties of reforms ranging from forest management to preservation. The multi-million-dollar investment by ECOWAS and the FAO is meant to support the Gambia's active participation in West Africa's forestry management plan. The Gambia used to be a country endowed with thick forest, but due to the increase in demand on its flora and fauna and the expansion of towns and communities, this gift of nature has been significantly affected.
This validation exercise, which is one of the series being undertaken in all the ECOWAS member states, is therefore a decisive turning point in the Commission's support for advocacy and resource mobilization for the sustainable management of forest and wildlife in the Gambia and generally in the sub-region.
The goal of the National Forest Investment Plan is generally to provide guidance to policy and decision makers, donors, and other stakeholders in order to mobilize adequate financial resources for the sustainable management of forest and wildlife resources in countries, and in this case in particular the Gambia. FAO is therefore very pleased to be associated with this important initiative.
The Gambia government has devised a series of plans meant to conserve the country's remaining forests. With this new investment plan, the establishment of community-based forests and the ban on illegal logging, the protection of the environment would be greatly enhanced.
I take this opportunity to sincerely thank the ECOWAS Commission, FAO, and our national consultant for their support in this process. We assure them of Gambia government's willingness and desire to work and partner with them in ensuring that our forests are protected and preserved for the improvement of the livelihood of our population.
It is one of the most recent steps undertaken by the Department of Forestry. It will not only help to preserve and improve the country's forest cover, but it will by extension reduce the impact of climate change in the sub-region. Reporting for GRCS News, I am Famarakani.
The Independent Electoral Commission recently conducted by-elections for area councillors in the Central River region. Aissatou Jatta was there.
The race to secure councillorship for the Galemanda ward in the Janjanbureh administrative area is a contest between the UDP and PDOIS.
Legal requirements to enable you to stand as a candidate in the forthcoming Galde ward by-elections. As usual, we'll have the display of all that you've submitted, so that if anybody has anything to contest against your candidature, they can do that to me. Now you are free to come here and witness it.
Ward councillors are key players in grassroots politics, and more importantly, the provision of basic social services. When elected, that would be the major preoccupation of Samba Kembalo of UDP and Abdoulaye Jallo of PDOIS.
You have people around you who have experience, and they will guide you through the process. Now listen to them and listen to the good advice.
Gambia seen doom la baay baabu borom damay faxas maalaw yaa ma gën a xam ceeb bu sew di leen wax ne Africell data bundle gaaw na seel la
expectations being managed? Is there a form of disconnect between what the government is doing and what the people expect? Or is it all too early? Well, GRTS has created a platform to bring government closer to the people in our special new program called Face the Nation with me, Cheneng Jite.
Welcome back. The 6th edition of the annual Kung Fu International Festival began in Bijilo. The program witnessed a display of Kung Fu, Karate and boxing among other sporting events. Modula Minsane reports.
Shaolin is one of the most popular Chinese martial art that has become a universal practice. The Shaolin Kung Fu style has taken roots in the Gambia, with several houses providing training lessons for aspiring interns. This thrilling demonstration by various clubs in the Gambia, Senegal and Guinea-Bissau feature a display of talent. The ceremony also formed part of celebrations marking the 6th annual Kung Fu International Festival, organized by the Shaolin Wutang Monastery.
bés bi nag bés bu rëy la kontaan na parce que ren moom mooy 6 years ñu koy organiser wu.
The objective of the event is to strengthen relationships among the various clubs in and outside the country.
There is one thing that combines and binds us all together. That is the art of Kung Fu. Kung Fu is one of those unique sports in the world because it can be used both as an art, a sport, but it can also be used as a weapon of defense.
Organizers of the Jamboree are hopeful of using the opportunity to popularize these sports and further enhance the growth of Kung Fu.
In martial art program, Shaolin Kung Fu with karate and other taekwondo and judo is all part of the martial art program. But in Shaolin Kung Fu, you can have much more the entertainment, like the animals' behaviors, you know. And the most important thing there is, because in the Gambia here, when you say, I'm going to train Shaolin Kung Fu, they used to think that maybe you are going to train to go and fight outside, but it's not part of that.
With self-defense, a crucial component of these sports, others practice it for healthy lifestyle and to promote the discipline. Reporting for GRTS Sports, I am Modula Minsane.
We will take our second break now. When we return, we will take a look at news from beyond our borders. Stay tuned.